it's really not that sense that you get at most brokerages where it's like they're my competition, because they don't want that culture. They don't want a silo culture. If you know what I'm talking about, especially if you are at a cloud-based brokerage, being a realtor can be a really lonely job. Are there state-specific trainings at Real Broker? Having community in real estate, let's talk about that for a hot second. Let's talk a little bit about Real Broker and how you can have community through Real Broker, because I know that's a little bit more what this question was about. Today, we are going to have a conversation and answer a handful of recently/frequently asked questions about joining Real Broker. These are questions that whenever I do Zoom calls, which I do Zoom calls with agents often who are thinking about joining us at Real Broker. If you'd like to hop on a Zoom call with me to talk about it as well, get some questions answered, see if it might be a good fit for you or not, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to get a call with you on the schedule as well. I will put my email in the description. These are questions that I get asked often on these calls with agents. So I thought I would just go down the list and answer them in today's video. We have horrible lighting right now. The sun is already starting to set, even though it's not late. The sun just sets really early this time of year here in Oregon. My daughter is going to be waking up from her nap any minute, but we are just gonna roll with it. Okay, I have my tea, I have my cozy blanket. Grab your tea or beverage of choice and let's get into these questions, you guys. So the first question is, what is the difference between Real Broker and EXP, plus all of these other cloud-based brokerages? There's a good handful. First thing I will say is I have done a handful of videos really breaking down Real Broker and EXP or Compass or another cloud-based brokerage. So if you want a more in-depth answer, if you want to talk about fees and structure and all of that, then head over to my channel and you can find those videos. One really big thing about Real Broker and EXP is the culture. So EXP is kind of known for having a culture of silos, meaning a bunch of little groups. Like say you join someone's network, they call it their downline, which is such a, no one wants to be in a downline, you know? Like it's just not a fun word to use. They really have that silo-y culture where you join someone's downline, their network, you get access to their training, they'll give you free, you know, a mastermind once a month, whatever. And like, that's all great, but at Real Broker, they don't allow silos. So yes, we do have the revenue share model, meaning if you sign up for the company, you put somebody's name down as your sponsor. I sponsor agents all across the US and Canada, and I love it so much. It's just getting to collaborate with and be in relationship with and have community with and help and be a resource to agents all over is something I genuinely enjoy so much, and it fills my cup and makes me so happy to get to do. Say you name me as your sponsor. When you sign up for Real Broker, I will then have a vested interest in your success at the company, and I will get a small portion of your commission. Doesn't cost you anything extra. I will get a small portion of your commission until you cap. Okay, so that's the same model, just in a nutshell. They have that same model at EXP and some of these other cloud-based brokerages as well. However, at Real Broker, there is verbiage in the independent contractor agreement that says that we are not allowed to do the whole silo thing because they don't want that culture. They don't want a silo culture. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below, or just like hit the thumbs up button or hit the thumbs down button, whatever you choose to do. But they don't want that silo-y culture, okay? They want it to be one Real, meaning like one brokerage where everybody helps everybody. Meaning, if you are at EXP or one of these other brokerages that does have silo-y network groups, whatever. Say I joined this guy named Mike. I'm just making Mike up. I don't know who he is. Say I joined Mike's downline at EXP or one of these other like cloud-based brokerages. Say I join his downline, okay? I can call him. I can shoot him a text if I have a question about something. But if Stu over here is also at EXP, but I'm not in his downline, Stu is not gonna help me. Stu's not gonna answer my questions because there's nothing in it for him. But at Real Broker, we are not allowed to offer you free training or free whatever, like all these extra things to join our downline, if that makes sense, because they want everyone to help everyone. So if I message Sue over here at Real Broker and I'm not in her network, she's not my sponsor, she's still gonna help me out and answer my questions. And that truly, truly is the culture here at Real Broker. So I'm not gonna talk any more about this. There are many other things that separate Real Broker and EXP. And I could keep going and talk more about other rules that we have in our independent contractor agreement that set up a different culture. Because here's the thing, Real Broker realizes that the revenue share model, should you choose to even participate in it, the majority of agents at Real Broker do not, but should you choose to participate in it, that model is very beneficial to both the person that is the sponsor and the person that is sponsored. Everyone is sponsored, but not everyone wants to be a sponsor, if that makes sense. It is beneficial because while we can't make promises like free training, give you this course or whatever, we can have a vested interest in your success at the company and be a point of contact, a resource, and that is what we are as a sponsor. But while we can't make promises like free training, give you this course or whatever, we can have a vested interest in your success at the company and be a point of contact, a resource, and that is what we are as a sponsor. But they don't want Real Broker to get this recruitment type reputation, I guess you could say. They just don't want that. There are a handful of other differences. A big one for me was the fact that Real Broker is much newer than EXP, and I think there's so much room for growth, which if you are sponsoring agents and or if you are interested in their stock, which I know a lot of people don't care about either of those things, but to me, the stock gets me really excited. So those are just a couple of the things. And I've been given so much free stock at Real Broker since I've been there, and can pull it out and turn it into real, liquidate it and turn it into real cash right here just for literally reaching milestones in my business I would be reaching anyway, like selling a certain number of houses. So, and I just think there's a lot more potential for the stock because it's the fastest growing real estate brokerage in the world. I think there's somewhere around 21,000 agents maybe at the time of filming this, but it is growing rapidly and there is so much room for growth versus EXP. It's kind of like, I feel probably reached its max. I was on a Zoom call with a super awesome agent recently, and she was telling me how she is a little hesitant to join because she likes going into the office. She has her office as, kind of her social place to go because, as you know, if you're a realtor, especially if you are at a cloud-based brokerage, being a realtor can be a really lonely job. So her question was, not having an office to go into, am I going to be lonely? Now, I'm just going to speak from my perspective. Again, I try to make my videos as unbiased as possible, but that's pretty hard to do because I have very strong opinions and I'm very firm in what I think, and my experience here has been so positive that it's very hard to be biased and have any negative because, like I said, my experience has been so good. But let me just share my thoughts, and maybe this will help with your decision making if you're wondering the same thing. I loved working from the office when I was a brand new agent. However, ever since becoming a mom, I really completely stopped. This is back before I switched to Real Broker. My husband and I had our own private office room because we were top producers at the company, but I never really ever stepped foot in there, to the point that last time I went to the office before I switched, I had cups with mold in them sitting on my desk. I had the dust about this thick and papers with leads from years ago. Like it was really like a ghost town. So all that to say, for my lifestyle right now, the getting work done during nap time or after my daughter goes to bed at night or when I can sneak it in, whatever, like that's how I roll right now. That's how I run my business because it's how I choose to. And so not having an office, or actually having an office in my house, is the most conducive to my lifestyle right now. But if we're talking about like lonely, not seeing people, having community in real estate, let's talk about that for a hot second. So my husband and I went through a pretty isolating, I guess you could say, season over the last couple of years. And then we spent 3 at least months living out of the country. And while we were living out of the country, we were around people a lot because of what we were doing. We were surrounded by people like way more than the average person is. And I think that's something we learned, and where we were at, I think especially partially because of the culture that we were in, the Latino culture, they do community so well, and we really realized like, oh my goodness, we were so isolated before and we didn't even know it. Obviously we have friends and family, but just like the way Americans live is like so much more isolating. It's crazy. But anyway, so all of that to say, it's easy to get into the routine of not having any sort of like real estate community, especially if you're at a cloud-based brokerage. But honestly, it was like that for us even at our old brokerage, because we didn't really care to go mingle with at these real estate events. Like, these are our competitors. That was kind of our mindset. Okay, so fast forward till now about building community, and this is something that we have done through we have, like I said, we have friends and family, but there's other ways to build community, I guess is what I'm trying to say, besides just the realtor community. So maybe that's one thing, take it or leave it. There's so many different things to be involved in, and places to go, and groups of people to mingle with and hang out with. You just have to like be intentional about it. So I guess that's my first answer to that question is I wouldn't necessarily be relying on the real estate community to be your only community, because there's so many other things. I know for my husband and I, our church community is a big part of our life. We invite people into our home. Like, we have community around us, but a lot of it isn't from real estate. And also, if you're only hanging out with other realtors, like, they're not going to give you business, maybe if they're in another state. But then another thing my husband and I have changed, that we previously, when we were pretty isolated, especially with how we ran our business, just like only working from home, really never seeing other agents because everything we do is online, like all of that. Something that we've changed is intentionally seeking out and going to realtor events. We just went to one with our lender partners this last week, and we had such a blast. We got to meet some new realtors in our community, people we've like done transactions with and talked to over the phone, but never actually seen in person. We got to catch up with old realtors that we haven't seen in a long time, and for us, we really enjoy like talking to other agents and just being social in general. So that's something that we really enjoy doing. And there are things going on. Like, if you're a real estate agent, there's a lot of community things going on that you can get involved in. You just have to go out of your way to like find them and seek them out, besides just your brokerage, okay? For example, every area has their local board. For my like your local National Association of Realtors board, and they have events consistently. There's the Young Professional Network that meets consistently through your local National Association of Realtors board. There's all kinds of events and groups to be part of that happen on a consistent basis if you're wanting to meet with other realtors through your local board. Another thing that we've tried to do is be a little bit more intentional with going to events. Say our title company throws an event and they're like, hey, we want to reward our top agents that send us the most amount of business with a like wine and cheese night, which they do every so often. Like, we want to be more intentional at actually going to those events that we get invited to with other agents, if that makes sense. Classes, I know your local title company as well as your local MLS should have classes on a consistent basis. These are all ways you can consistently meet with and be in front of other agents. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Real Broker and how you can have community through Real Broker, because I know that's a little bit more what this question was about. Something that I think is really cool about Real Broker is there is something called I think it's called Real Connect and then Real Cafe. Those are two names I've heard thrown out there. I don't know for sure because I haven't gone myself yet, but I know most states now, if not all of them, have these events going on consistently. So you can find it through your workplace app if you're with Real Broker. If you're not, you can't yet. But if you're with Real Broker, you can find these events through your workplace app, through your state-specific group. And you can find meetups that are happening consistently with other real estate agents at Real Broker in your specific area. Either like a Real Cafe or Real Connect or something like that. And if you're in Oregon, by the way, and you're with Real Broker and you would like to do one of these, I've kind of thought about throwing one in my area. I know there's one in Portland, which is about an hour from me, but I've thought about doing one closer to where I'm at, which is Salem. So if you're a realtor and you're with Real Broker and you're in this specific area, or even if you're not with Real, and you'd like to do some sort of consistent, like in-person meetup group for real estate agents, let me know, hit me up. But that's just kind of been on my brain a little bit. But are there state-specific trainings at Real Broker? As far as state-specific training goes, your local title company, your local MLS board, like the National Association of Realtors board, and your local WVMLS, they have classes on a consistent basis that are gonna be state specific, even like specifically like sometimes to your area, your county or whatever. So go to those classes if you need to learn about your forms, you need to learn how to like make a CMA, use your WVMLS, your contracts, writing an offer, all of those things you can learn at those 3 places I just mentioned: your local title companies, local multiple listing services, and local National Association of Realtor boards. So call those 3 places right now. Call all 3. If they don't answer, leave a voicemail, send them an email, and ask them to send you their upcoming schedule for this next month, and then put those classes on your schedule. The next question that I get asked quite a bit from agents that are considering joining Real is, I have a few listings. Should I wait to move to Real until they sell, or how does that work? Okay, so I won't go too in depth on this because I've covered this in other videos. By the way, if you want more information about joining Real, I have an entire playlist called Real Brokerage Explained. Go to my channel and find that. And I do go more in depth on this video, on this particular question in the video titled "What I Wish I Knew Before Switching Brokerages." Go find that. It's in that playlist. And watch that after this video. Make sure you finish this video first. But this is something you're gonna wanna talk to your brokerage about as to how they would handle this. There's pros and cons to moving your listings and pros and cons to keeping them at your old brokerage. Pros to moving your listings are you're gonna get closer to you're gonna reach your cap sooner. If you move your listing over to Real Broker, then that listing, when it closes, is going to go toward your new cap at Real Broker. So you will reach that cap faster, which it's a really low cap. So you're probably gonna reach it no problem. What are the trainings about at Real Broker? Okay. What are they about? What are they not about? That's the real question. Everything from open houses. I've even seen some for sale by owner stuff recently. So if you want some more like old fashioned type stuff, you'll see that. There's plenty on mindset, new construction for realtors, video marketing. I will say, if you want training, good training, like what's actually working right now in today's real time, taught by the people that are doing it and getting amazing results, so you know like the proof's in the pudding, they're doing it and it's working really well for them because they're the top producers at our company and they're the ones teaching these classes all over the country, sharing what's working with them, sharing with you what's working for them. If you want video marketing training, or honestly just social media at all, you need to be at Real Broker, because Real Broker has not only the best technology in the industry, but they have the best training on that. I was at a Tom Ferry event last year, and Tom Ferry gave, or actually it wasn't Tom, it was someone, whoever, I don't know, was doing the event for him. But the speaker at the event, he gave an example of, he was giving an example of top agents in our industry, like making the most amount of money in real estate in the entire, US and Canada, who were using social media of all kinds, whether it was video, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Reels, long form, short form, whatever, all those different methods, okay? He was using agents as an example who are doing that at the highest levels in the entire industry, getting the best results in the entire industry. And I kid you not, every one of those agents that he used as an example was with Real Broker. And all those agents, they were with Real Broker. Not only were they with Real Broker, but that's who you're learning from. That's who's teaching these classes, either on a consistent basis or coming in every now and then, popping in on a mastermind as a guest. Like, that's who's teaching the classes at Real. And I can't think of a better person to learn from than the best, who's doing it at the highest level and getting the best results from it. So that's just my thinking. Next question that I was recently asked from an agent who wants to join Real Broker was, I have a friend in my state who lives near me in the state I live in, who is with Real Broker. But I also want you to be my sponsor. I don't want to hurt my friends' feelings. I don't know if they'd be upset if I didn't use them as a sponsor. Okay, guys, I am never here to hurt your friends' feelings. Here's what I have to say about this. Real Broker has something really, really unique that I don't think any other cloud-based brokerage or brokerage with revenue share has yet at all. This is another thing that separates us from not only EXP, but all of those other real estate brokerages that have a similar revenue share model, is that we allow co-sponsorship. This is part of that, like, everyone helping everyone, no silo type culture. That basically just means that you're allowed to not only have one sponsor, but you can have two sponsors. It doesn't cost you anything to have a sponsor. By the way, everyone that joins the company names someone as their sponsor, and it doesn't cost you any more or any less. It's not like a fee that's taken out for you to have this person in your corner. Okay, so, but what co-sponsorship is that, say you had a friend who's in your state that you want to sponsor you, but you also want to be able to have me as your sponsor as well. You're able to do that. You're able to have two sponsors. I know, no, you don't. This is my next question. Do you need to be in my state to be my sponsor? No. Most of the agents that we sponsor actually are not in our state, in Oregon. Every so often, an agent will want us and someone else to be their sponsor. And if that's the case, like, we're totally fine with that. We'd love to co-sponsor you. And if you want us to help you find a co-sponsor, if you're like, I want to co-sponsor in a specific area, we can help with that as well. But all that to say, you're able to have two sponsors if you want to. However, if you don't want to have two sponsors, or if you just want me to be your sponsor, I don't have to live in your state. If that makes sense, I'm happy to help regardless. Okay, so that concludes today's video. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. We come on here consistently with new videos. Feel free to leave any real estate related questions or video suggestions in the comments, or shoot me an email, and I will see you guys next time.